Let's do some lazy plant-based meal prep. Welcome back to the Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show, where we make plant-based cooking easy. I'm Jill, and today we are doing lazy plant-based meal prep for a week, for two. So these are the things that we prepped for our week, because sometimes I don't want to cook every night or every meal. So we cook some of these things ahead of time so that we can add to a meal or use it as the base of our meal. So I'm going to start over here. This is already cooked. How we make this, it is 1 cup of steel cut oats, 1 cup of black lentils, and 1 cup of buckwheat groats. So we just add those to our Instapot and cover it with 6 cups of water and cook it for 20 minutes. And then we put it in a Tupperware container and just stick it in the fridge. So our next thing are beans, because we love beans. I could probably eat them for almost every meal. So this is 1 pound of beans, and this is our favorite Rancho Gordo beans, but you can use whatever beans you like. So these Rancho Gordo beans are very, very fresh beans, so they don't have to cook quite as long. So I only cook these for 7 minutes on pressure cook. But most beans that you get from the grocery store, you're probably going to have to cook them for about 18 to 20 minutes on your pressure cook. Just look on your Instapot instructions and it'll give you a guide to whatever bean you're going to use. You start out, you rinse them really well, and then you put them in a bowl and cover them with about a couple inches of water, soak them overnight, pour off that water, and then stick them into the Instapot for that however much time it is. Cover them with a couple inches of water and then cook them. When they're done, same thing, you put them in a Tupperware container, stick them in the fridge. Next, we're going to move on to tofu. This is an extra firm, like super firm tofu, because that's my favorite. And I just slice them in slabs. You know, I drain off the water, slice them in slabs, put them on a baking tray with a piece of parchment paper, and I bake them for 20 minutes on 400 degrees. The same thing there. After this is cool, this is still really hot, I would stick them in another Tupperware container, stick it in the fridge. So this next thing is one of my favorites. This is a way that you can get your greens in a little bit easier, especially if you prep them beforehand. So I always have one of these containers like this in my fridge all the time so I can just grab stuff out of it. This is kale, collards, and parsley from my garden, and then some cabbage that I just chop up into little pieces. It's easier to eat this way. It's easier to use for different things. Stick it in that Tupperware, stick it in the fridge. And our last item here are sweet potatoes and carrots. And we have 2 different types of sweet potatoes. We have a purple sweet potato and then just a regular orange garnet sweet potato, and then some carrots. So those, you would just rinse them off really well, you know, wash those skins off really well, leave those skins on. You're going to cook them with the skins on because that's where a lot of those nutrients are. So we rinse them and just stick them into the Instant Pot and stick it on 20 minutes pressure cook, just like the other things. When it's done, stick it in the Tupperware, stick it in the fridge. All right, I'm going to grab some of my other ingredients and I'll show you how we use these as a base for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's no denying the plant-based diet is a nutrient powerhouse, but did you know there are a handful of hard-to-get nutrients even well-crafted diets are often lacking? The latest research suggests that complementing your diet with a few specific vitamins, minerals, and omega-3s will help boost your energy and keep you thriving for the long term. That's why my daily health routine includes Complement Essential. Complement Essential contains the 8 critical nutrients lacking from most plant-based diets in dosages optimized specifically for us. Plus, Complement is completely transparent about ingredient sourcing and third-party testing, publishing the results directly on their website. As a special discount for our viewers, just use code PLANTBASEDEASY at checkout to save 15% off of your order. Okay, we're going to start with a simple breakfast. This is what I like to eat. So I just put some of this grain mix, and I know what you're saying, lentils for breakfast, but you really don't even taste them in there. Once you get your other ingredients on there, it's just the base. And I would just add a little bit of water in that and stick it in the microwave for maybe 30 seconds just to heat it up a little bit. Or you can put it in a pan and heat it up that way too. So I like a little bit more here. And I like to put a little bit of cinnamon first, Then I like to put some walnuts, a few goji berries, because those are like a super powerhouse of nutrition. And I like that they're kind of tart and a little bit bitter. Then some blueberries, and these are just frozen blueberries, and the heat of that base will soften those up. Then I like to put a little bit of date syrup on there, just for a little bit of sweetness. You could use a little bit of maple syrup, but I really prefer the date syrup. I think it's a better alternative. It's lower on the glycemic load. And then I always pour a little bit of soy milk. This is an unsweetened soy milk. All it is soybeans and water. And that will be a nice, simple, quick breakfast. All right, so now we're gonna move on to lunch. While we're waiting for that, I'd like to share some background on our show. The Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show is crowd-funded, which means these free weekly recipe videos, along with our entire catalog of free printable recipes on our website, plantbasedcookingshow.com, and our Plant-Based Cooking Made Easy cookbook series, are all made possible in part by the generous patronage of our supporting membership community. So if you love our recipes, I invite you to join us on our mission to make plant-based cooking easy, and follow the link in the description to become a supporting member today. Okay, let's get back to the show. For lunch, I typically have a salad, and that's, here we go with our greens. So I just get a nice healthy pile of greens. And then I usually put, you know, chopped olives, some cherry tomatoes, some chopped bell pepper. This is a yellow bell pepper. And I'll put some sunflower seeds and some of the beans. This is a good way to use some of these beans. And I like to put cracked pepper on mine. And then some salad dressing. And this is our hemp seed ranch dressing, and I just made up a double batch of that, so we'll have plenty for the week. I just pour that over. And you could use whatever salad dressing you like. We have a salad dressing series. We have probably over 10 different salad dressings that you could choose from. And they're all great. They all work wonderfully for this. So there you go, a really quick and easy salad. So we're doing this series because, you know, people are under the impression that because we do the show that I cook every single meal and that we eat that way all the time. Honestly, we eat more basic type of stuff like this, and then the main stuff that I make, the desserts and the mains, you know, those are special meals that, you know, like every third or fourth day we'll make something like that. And of course, I always have desserts on hand because I'm always working on something. But typically we eat a little bit more simple like this so that we can get in all of our greens and beans and starches. All right, I'm gonna move this stuff out and I'll show you what we do for dinner. All right, for dinner, I'm gonna start with one of these sweet potatoes and a carrot. I'm gonna mash it up a little bit onto the bottom. Look at the color of that sweet potato, isn't that beautiful? That purple, that means it is full of all those antioxidants and all of those good things for you. Okay, then I'm going to stick some of this grain mix on top. Just going to spread it out a little bit. So this is a very, very filling meal. And then I'm going to top it with, this is our creamy chickpea curry, but we have a lot of different sauces that would work wonderfully for this. Maybe even the African stew. Oh my gosh, that would be so delicious on this. Put a little of that. And then I'm gonna put some, these are our tofu chunks. I just cut them up into squares so they're easier to eat. Put a few of those on there. And this is typically what we would do. If I don't have something like one of the sauces already made, sometimes we order Uber Eats, and our favorite Indian restaurant has these delicious sauces. We ordered a couple sauces, and we use this as the base instead of using the white rice that typically comes with meals like that to make it healthier and heartier. So that's typically what we do in a day. So I'm gonna grab my favorite dish and I'll meet you at the table for a taste. All right, I went for the dinner. So the links for everything will be in the details below, links to the recipes that we referenced, like the chickpea curry and this dressing. Super easy. I'm gonna add a little of the dressing to my dinner because I like this on everything. I like my food real saucy. All right, here we go. Get a little bit of that sweet potato. Keep the tofu. Super simple and basic foods, but the flavor is amazing and you're gonna be so satisfied and full, and it's loaded with nutrition. So meet me back here next week for another great recipe.